And we're live.
This thing sounds really bad for audio.
Bella, ciao. Yeah, this thing is terrible for audio.
Terrible for audio.
What?
I don't know what my audio levels are.
What?
I can barely see out of these masks. It is.
You can't drink that, Ian. You're gonna put it all over your front chest.
All right. Hello. Welcome to our live
Hey
stream.
everybody.
We have taken over your regularly programmed podcast show thing.
I can barely understand a thing you are saying.
What? Who is this?
Where am I?
Hey. Sorry, before we do anything else, we have to say, tranquilo.
Tranquilo.
If there was a drinking game in Money Heist where you said tranquilo every time, you drank every time they said tranquilo, you'd be drunk within like 5 minutes.
By the end of episode 1, you would be dead.
I feel like Dark Helmet in Spaceballs.
I'll tell you, there are some people who look cool in this outfit. I look like a fucking Teletubby. Or should I say Teletubby?
I'm not gonna.
I don't get that.
I'm not gonna acknowledge it.
Ian's not getting the joke, but he doesn't want to be racist.
I'm not acknowledging that.
I am going to register that Instagram account.
I'm just rocking the Denver look. You can't tell, but my overall is tied around my waist.
Nice.
Sure.
You know, so this set that we got from Netflix, it's nice, but it is this weird polyester type stuff.
It's cheap. It's that's the thing, but it's way nicer than I was expecting. I thought the box had been like beaten up in transit and didn't realize that. Oh no,
It's just
they printed
on.
it to make it look like that because we didn't.
Yeah.
We registered, right? Bahir and I registered on the
Yeah.
website.
On the website, yeah, we did. So yeah, it was. I was. Also, did you guys see the address?
Huh?
Oh yes,
Did you notice the address?
Royal Mint
Mint
of Spain.
Spain
Oh.
Ampang.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cute. I like that.
I'm worried the ring light is going to set this thing on fire. But yeah, it's entirely possible.
So let's see how long you can go with this recording with that on.
It's really fucking hot.
I know, that's my point.
All right. Hello. Welcome to the Goggler podcast. Ian, Bahir, and Uma with you. Coming to you in a week when they announced that cinemas can reopen again.
Hey.
Yay!
But it's not going to happen immediately. They could reopen as of September the 9th. I mean, this is the biggest news we've had all week, apart from the Matrix trailer that is dropping later tonight as we are recording this. But yeah, so they said it can open September 9th, but I think there's going to be stuff they need to... It's not just flipping a switch, obviously.
Yeah.
They've got to get the movie submitted to the censorship board for approval. They've got to staff up. I think a lot of people... were laid off, or at least
my aunt's been
furloughed.
sharing.
I don't know if they do furloughs in Malaysia. But
My aunt's been sharing sort of like TGV, sort of been putting up posts trying to get people to come to just join them for work. You know, it's been that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I'd say all that. Everyone working on those like front of house jobs is all like they were like, oh, it was the beginning of this year. I was at a GSC event, I think it was, and they were saying that they had tried not to let anyone go. So I'm not sure how that has gone over the. It's been a long time.
it's been months.
it has. Yeah.
And then I think they're going to do the deep cleaning, and they're going to get the SOPs set up. So I'm thinking maybe a week or two. I don't know. Like, I don't know if all the guys at the Malaysian censorship board have just gone on break because they haven't had any work to do. So I don't know how long before they come back and start watching movies again.
They would have done the TV stuff. They would have done some of the TV stuff.
Right, that's true.
So,
That's true.
and Apple TV as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because they do censorship. Yeah.
So we're just thrilled that we get to see Shang-Chi and Dune on the big screen.
Don't fucking jinx things like that.
I was just gonna say.
I did not get double vaccinated for nothing. God damn it.
I was gonna say. I mean, Dune's in a month.
Yeah.
October 12th?
October
Something like
14th,
that?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a long time for us to still screw that shit up.
Yeah.
That's
could
enough
still-
time for the Malaysian government to fuck things up.
Yeah, it might be just
or,
like,
or
you know,
just
they're-
Malaysians in general. To
yeah, like
screw it up
the
somewhere.
country
Yeah.
is already kind of trying to dip its toe into phase 2, but like maybe the water is infested with sharks and it shouldn't really do that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So yes, phase 2. We will be by the time you are listening to this podcast, Kuala Lumpur and Selangor will be in phase 2, whatever that means.
it means I
you
can
now-
officially now go across borders to Petaling
Well, you
Jaya.
can cross from Taman Tun to Wanutama and not get
Yes.
arrested.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's going to be a stampede there, I guess, soon.
Yeah.
All right. So on the show today, we are talking about some great stuff. We've got a quick review of a brand new Filipino series. I use the term series loosely, and I'll explain why in a bit, called On the Job, that's dropping on HBO Go. After that, we're going to be talking about Kate, which is Netflix's, well, yet another revenge thriller from Netflix. You know, I mentioned they had a cottage industry. Every week, man. Every
Yeah.
week there's a new one. And then we're going to be, I guess, in a way, commemorating the 20th anniversary of 9/11, which happens this Saturday. And we're going to be talking about Come From Away, which is an original Broadway live taping that's going to be available on Apple TV Plus, or will be by the time this podcast is out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but first,
Money
I know
Heist.
I know this wasn't on the agenda. No, before we get into Money Heist, Stephen, I know this wasn't on the agenda, but for some reason, last night there seemed to be like 20 new trailers that dropped.
Yes. Yeah.
I
A
don't know
bunch
why.
dropped last night.
Was it
yeah.
was it the end of Telluride or something like that? Because I saw people posting reviews and things like that. So I'd seen someone posting the poster of Come On, Come On, and then Googled it and couldn't find anything. And then this morning, lo and behold, there's a trailer for Come On, Come
There's
On.
a trailer out. Yeah.
Right. Another
Hmm.
A24 production with Joaquin Phoenix that just looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks weird.
Yeah.
It's in black and white. Black and white is the new color, guys. That and Belfast by
Yeah. Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh. That I got so many feels watching that.
I'm
And
looking
I'm not
forward to
even,
that, yeah.
I'm not even from Belfast.
For me, I'm looking forward. I'm more excited for Belfast than I am for Come On, Come On, because I'm not sure what Come On, Come On. It just looks like one of those Joaquin Phoenix joints where he's just like, I don't know. I'm expecting something bad to happen that they're not showing me in the trailer, and I'm just not up for that.
That is
Yeah.
your typical Joaquin Phoenix movie.
I don't know if it's the Joaquin Phoenix thing, but it's just that movie. Like it does look like someone's gonna die, right?
Yes.
It's all very like this is the best time of your life because it's ending. That's it, and that's
Yeah.
why we're giving you the best time of your life. Whoever
Yeah.
you are, I don't know who it is. Is it the mom? Is it the dad? Is it the kid? Is it that other neighbor? I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
someone's
Did
gonna bite
you-
it.
Did you guys catch the full trailer for Last Night in Soho?
No,
Yes.
Bahir did. I haven't either.
Okay.
I've seen enough. I'm just waiting.
I was holding off because
Right.
I felt like the teaser was
Enough.
ambiguous enough that I am looking
Yeah.
forward to watching it, not knowing anything about this.
Then avoid the full trailer because
Okay.
it's sort of really. I wouldn't say it's not the whole. Edgar Wright's not gonna screw it up
Right.
by giving the movie in the trailer, right? But there's enough there to show you what it is. I think the
Right.
first teaser was like you said, was ambiguous enough that you weren't sure what it was. This trailer is sort of, yep, this is the genre of that movie. So
Okay,
stay away from it. Yeah.
cool. I want to go in
Yeah.
blind. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Also, Shang-Chi made a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
which proves once again, if you don't release movies simultaneously on streaming, maybe you might make some money at the box office.
Who would have thunk of that?
Correlation is not causation. This is just, I don't know. There's like, it's ridiculous the lengths people the hoops they jump through to try and draw lines. You know what I mean? Like there is there is a campaign. You know, I think there was a campaign a while ago to try and get a gold open right for Shang-Chi, the same way they got for Crazy Rich Asians. Whether that played into it, whether the fact that there are enough Marvel fans who didn't have it on home video to see it, but like also when Black Widow came out, the situation was a little bit different and
Worse.
better.
Yeah.
Worse and better,
Yeah.
and it's the same in the US. So
Yeah.
trying to make anything it's like reading the tea leaves. You're not. It's on a boat that's
Yeah.
also falling through a hurricane. There's no way you
Yeah.
can kind of guess. You can make sense of these things.
I think the only one interesting marker will be this weekend to see what the drop off is, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think watching that drop off is always interesting to see whether it's a steep plummet or just a casual decline.
Plus, Shang-Chi is like, it's made money, but it's in the top 5, it's in the bottom 5 earning Marvel movies.
Well, it's made pandemic money.
True, but also just overall, it's made more money than Ant-Man. It's made more money than...
Oh, has it really?
One of the Hulks, I think. Yeah. There's Ant-Man and there's another movie that also got a sequel. I remember reading the tweet, but I didn't keep the notes.
I saw a headline that said that it's made the most money for Labor Day weekend, I think, or something like that.
But those kind of things, I don't understand that, because it's like, really? Is it in small print to say, like, starring an Asian man or from Marvel or from something else? Because...
But I just love those fucking data sets.
Yeah.
Like when you go onto Box Office Mojo and it's like in America, it's like Labor Day weekend if Tuesday was also a public holiday.
Sure.
Yeah.
Quantify. Yeah.
So, but it's made money, so well done to them all.
That's good for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please show us your movie, please.
Which is good, and fuck the racist trolls. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So Money Heist. What did you guys think of the first 5 episodes? Up to par?
Awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, it didn't let up from the previous one, right?
Yeah.
It just sort of really kicked off. I mean, again, admittedly, where it ends and where season 4 ended was a real cliffhanger, and it just sort of really picks up from there. And it's great.
Yeah.
I watched it in the first 5 hours it was out. And, I was at the end of the 5th episode. Me and my wife were just left staring at each other, going, "Now we have to wait for another 5 episodes."
Yeah.
What do we do? Yeah. Do we watch it again?
But thank God it's only till December. Like, it's not such a bad thing.
Thankfully, yeah.
But this is like we were like Berlin savoring a fine chocolate or something like that. We spread it out over a few days, so.
Oh.
Which gave us some time to think and pause and reflect in between episodes and see the foreshadowing and just.
Oh. Yeah, we couldn't do that.
When was the last season? Because when it started, there was an awful lot of wait, what? Oh God!
Yeah.
And all this is going on, and then it was just like straight back into it. And then we've done an article. I did an article, but the end of that first episode is where it reminds you of everything. The music's amazing. They're using incredibly. I don't know if it's a budget thing. Like this later on, I noticed it a little bit more when I was going back over it, that they're incredibly quick cuts that are very close up. So you don't need to show all the devastation in the background in case they haven't done it yet, or they're planning to do it later in the effects shots.
Right.
So you get a lot of Palermo's face or Bogota's face, and there's a few things going off, but there's not like gunfire like that. They just got the sound of gunfire. It's
just reaction shots, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing. But it is like it's a war movie now. Like they have trenches. Yeah. They're setting up choke points. It's like
they're literally setting up trenches, right?
Yeah. I always mean to play these those Dawn of War games. That like the Warhammer ones. And from what I recall, the first one was like you're commanding armies, and the second one is like you're commanding 5 guys. And this is like they've done that same kind of shrinking where you're going to get the interplay and feints and retreats of an actual, land war in Asia, but just played out in the course of like these 10 soldiers and is it 9 or 10 bank robbers? And that's amazing. The fact that why did I ever think of doing this before? They're doing like it's full on Nam movie at point. They got the paint under their eyes. There's like barriers going up. There's grenades going around left, right, and center, and it's immensely thrilling.
But I think that's what Alex Pina does well, right? I mean, he was very smart. Every season is an escalation, so he doesn't. Yes. I mean, the last thing we want after the cliffhanger of season 4 is 6 months later or a flashback.
Yes.
No, this goes straight into it. And like you said, even in your top 10 listicle on the site, Ian, this is now a war film. So it becomes it completely escalates, which if you look at a typical graph of a 3-act structure play, it means the last 5 episodes, you're going to get the emotional resolution, right?
No, because they're already doing that now.
Well, they did a little bit of it in episode 5, but I feel like there's
more to come.
I feel like there's a shit ton to come with the professor. I think. Yeah. I don't know.
No,
I don't
but
want to spoil anything.
Even like if you remember if you go back 4 years ago, 5 maybe, at the end of the first heist.
Right, 2017.
Yeah, so there's a holy shit, 2017. There is a couple of episodes for them to calm down from, right? So it's not just they get out, they ride into the sunset. This, there's a reaction to the bank robbery. There's fallout or there's celebratory stuff. But they've only got 5 episodes to do this now.
Yeah.
I know.
And
know?
we still don't know, like, they've laid bare how they were planning to get the gold out, but they haven't said anything about how they were going to get the people out, because the plan won't work for both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have no idea what's going on with Raphael.
No.
Yes, we don't know.
That was one scene where I was like, okay, I do remember them flashing back a lot to Berlin, but I don't remember his son. His son wasn't in the previous series at all,
No,
right?
he wasn't.
No.
No. Yeah.
Every time I tell her, don't drag that table. What does she do? I'm doing a podcast and she drags the table every time. Did the mic pick that up?
I can
we
hear
heard
a
that.
faint
We
dragging.
heard it a little bit. Yeah.
Really loud here.
Yeah, heard it a little
I
bit.
gotta get those little mats for under the table. But
Yeah, that was good.
yeah, it's just there's so many messages. Like, and what the bad guy Tamayo's got to get his due as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's how they do these things.
Can I also want to just say, I also want to just quickly say, I think Netflix sort of it's not a massive thing, but I didn't appreciate Netflix announcing the new cast members. Like prior to the season releasing, they did a whole big thing about Raphael and whose son he is, and I'm just like, I would have loved to have been surprised by that.
I missed all that, so I was surprised.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
you were surprised.
I was surprised. I was confused. I was kind of hungry for a little bit, and then I was confused again because I was like, where was he in the last one?
Google alerts. Bahir's got the he's on all the Reddit threads.
Nah, dude, I'm reading the Netflix emails. That's my problem.
Oh,
That was your first
You see
mistake.
the
Never
ones
read
they
the
sent
emails.
us?
Yeah, the promos, the press release stuff, but they also had it on social media and everything. So
Yeah, I don't wait.
I find it a little.
I don't read the press emails. I just wait for that guy in the office to remind me. What's his name? Oh yeah, Bahir.
Yeah. Thanks.
Can I just say that we sometimes, just speaking behind the curtain, we sometimes get screeners and we have to sign these letters because there are embargoes and stuff. And the
I
most
never read
frustrating
those.
thing,
I
I don't
never
read the
read those.
letters anymore because they tell you the things not to spoil
Ah.
and they
Yeah.
list the frickin' spoilers.
I've noticed that when when you've said, like, let's do this on the live show, and it's like, we can't. It's the embargo is the day after. I check as far as the red text, and then I'm out.
Right, and then you're out, right? But Netflix, if you are watching or listening to us in any way, I just noticed how the folks at Apple TV do it, and they give you a link. You click the link for all the things you cannot spoil. So
But-
as you're looking for an embargo date,
Ah.
it doesn't go, this person dies.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, please
Yeah.
don't tell everyone.
Please don't tell everyone that this person dies.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I just told you that this person. It's
And
just
it-
like, no.
It's like, what was it? It's like last week or the week before we were talking about how I'm not sure if I should listen to Uma before watching something because when he says
What
something,
if?
yeah,
Yeah.
I go
Yeah,
in a certain
he
way.
colours you, yeah.
It's the same. It's like, please don't talk about the relationship between X and Y. And it's like, there's a relationship between X and Y?
yeah. Please don't reveal the master plan. Holy
You
shit,
mean
you
the
not
will
just
they,
reveal the
won't
master
they
plan.
actually happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Not, yeah.
But
So-
anyway, it's not a long wait until December, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and in a way, it's good they split it up. There's a pandemic going on. It's something to watch, something to look forward to, and also, it's. I mean, I don't know. Were you just an emotional wreck when you finished watching all 5 back to back by here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Completely. Just
I
worn
split
out
it
and
up
spent.
as well,
Oh,
and
yeah?
I was spent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
went.
split it up over multiple days.
I
and
went
was-
back to get screen grabs, and I was tearing up while trying to press
Yeah.
Control Alt Print Screen.
Yeah. No, it's a draining experience, but it's just like it's the best. I enjoy it
That's
so
it.
much.
That's it. I'm glad it's coming to an end. I think I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready for it to finish.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought they were going to rob the shark when they brought them back, and they were like, they're going back in? Why? And
Exactly.
then
Why?
they did come
Yes.
up with a good reason for that.
Yes.
But they are absolutely fucking terrible people to work with. Like, HR reviews are just bad off. Like they go from 1 minute, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to shoot you in the face unless you get out of my way. Someone's coming, everybody together, go down. Like, they work perfectly as a
Yeah.
team. The moment they have a
Yeah.
minute's downtime,
Yeah.
they're literally ready to
Also,
claw each other's
Also-
eyes out.
can I just say the professor needs to pick better leaders of that group.
Oh wait, yeah, but
Berlin, not
Yep.
great.
yeah,
Right?
Asshole.
Just the Oh my god! I know he's your brother, but holy crap!
Well, we
You
don't
know,
now,
it's just
but I mentioned earlier about like Palermo. Palermo is amazing in this season, and like last season, you were like, shoot him, just shoot him. He's
Yeah, just
annoying,
shoot him.
useless.
Just kill
He's
him.
really
Yeah.
screwing things up. Shoot him.
Yeah, yeah,
Also, something that everyone seems to miss when talking about Money Heist, there's a reason. You just hit it. You just hit the nail on the head, Ian. It leans into every telenovela trope. It is the soap. That is why we love it so much, because the soap opera, like even that flashback scene with Tokyo in season 5,
Yeah.
soap opera gold. That's why
Yeah.
we love it so much.
so much slow mo.
Yeah.
So much rain.
Yeah. But all of that, that's the other thing, is like it works so well because they set up, all of that stuff is set up to point you in one direction, and you know it's not going to be that if this is happening. You're talking about the flashbacks with Renee. I'm talking the flashbacks with Nairobi is another one where it's like, this is setting out a stall a certain way, and it kind of goes
Yeah.
that way, but it kind of doesn't. And what happens in that episode 5 and the way we watched, I let it loop, so it looped
Right.
back around to the first episode. And seeing certain lines from certain characters, and they were the exact
Yeah.
same. And I'm not sure whether they used some of the exact same footage, but also whoever's their set hand or stage manager is genius because they kept access to an awful lot of stuff. That it's the same.
Nice.
It's if you go back around,
Oh.
because when you see some shows and they go back, it's like it's shot on nicer lenses. Everyone's got better
Yes.
haircuts and everything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Nailed it. It's unless they shot it
Oh.
ahead of time, which would be insane.
Oh.
Well, they wouldn't have, because they never thought they'd get a season 3 through 5.
No,
Yeah.
no, it was supposed to end after the first heist.
It was done,
that was
right?
all there
Yeah.
was. Yeah, and
You see,
Netflix re-edited
unless it's all being part of Alex Pina's heist, and and then he dropped in the footage we had from earlier.
We are the heist.
we've been heisted,
it. Yeah.
heisted by our own petards.
But we know you've seen Money Heist because it was trending #1 on Netflix. Also, you can't walk around KL without seeing something Money Heist. Netflix seems to have spent an absolute fortune on
Yeah.
advertising this final season.
Last Friday, 2 people wearing this walked past the restaurant I was at,
Oh, nice.
Oh.
and the full suit as well.
I saw someone take a photo of it. I think I saw it on Instagram of them standing in front of Bank Nagara.
Mm.
The whole
Ooh.
outfit. I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah, that's
watch
good.
it, buddy.
That's good. That's
Watch it.
Well, I said the Netflix tie-in thing that gave us these things was, do something to prove your love, and I was like, this is going to end horribly wrong. Someone's going to do a real heist. What perfect! Damn it! I've said it live now. What a perfect cover for a heist. Pretend you're doing a money heist.
Ooh, you should write it down.
It's
you son
on
of
the
a
internet
bitch,
now.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. Check. Let us know what you think about Money Heist. You know how to get in touch. All of our social media feeds are Goggler MY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or WhatsApp us on 012-524-5208. Up next, we're going to be reviewing a new Filipino series called On the Job. So I use the word series loosely because I think this is a very interesting experiment. It's by Eric Mati, who's a award-winning, well-acclaimed Filipino director, and he did a movie called On the Job, I want to say in 2013.
Yeah.
Wow.
It premiered in Cannes. It got great critical approval, and he's done a sequel now, which is On the Job 2, and that was premiering at Venice, I think as we speak, or it might have just done it. And because of the pandemic, they were trying to figure out a way to release the movie. I think things are pretty bad in the Philippines as well. So they approached HBO and they kind of reformatted both movies into a 6-episode series. So On the Job is episodes 1 and 2, and then On the Job 2, which is episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6, are now
Right.
a part of this. I don't want to call it an anthology series because it's kind of one complete story, right?
Yeah.
And they say it's based on a true story, and I think the true storyness of it is the political
The job. Yeah.
situation in the Philippines. So the director had said that he was inspired, I think back in 2009 or 2010, he was sitting in a taxi in Manila, and the driver had said, I have friends in prison who often get pulled out to commit these crimes and political assassinations. and then they just go back in. So they get paid to do a job, and they're outside of the system, so they can effectively get away with murder.
Yeah.
And that kind of inspired him to tell the story about these criminals who do just that, right? And ties it into the whole political corruption in Philippines. And yeah, I don't know, Bahir, I know you watched an episode.
I saw the first two, so I've seen the first.
Ian,
film,
did you
I
get a
guess.
chance?
I got most of the first one done, and just fortunately I was
Right.
busy.
I got through the 6 episodes, and I have to say it's really quite good. Like, it was very interesting because we don't get a lot of Filipino shows. And from what I understand about Filipino politics and crime, it must take a lot of fucking balls to make something like this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and not be afraid for your life.
Like, it looks like a Filipino The Wire, the way it's shot as well. Like, it's
Right.
it's popping around. You're seeing cops, you're seeing criminals, and you're seeing, it's not glamorizing anything. Like, even the criminals
Yeah.
are like visiting kind of, I won't say hovels, but they're not gangsters paradise style places. But
Yeah.
like the rich and famous are, and they're also having their side of it. So it's interesting what you say about the way it's edited out. This is like almost it could be the Philippines Money Heist, because Money Heist was 15 episodes originally that was edited into 22, which
Yes.
always confuses me, but I have to look it up every time because it's like,
The numbers don't work.
how does they made it smaller, they made it bigger while making it smaller.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So does
I mean,
the story, because does the story then over these whole episodes hang together?
yeah, it does. So
Yeah.
the political story kind of hangs together. And there's a narrative arc. I mean, the episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6, the focus shifts towards a journalist and another hired killer, and it becomes this critique on the state of journalism in the Philippines. Because when a few years ago, there was a huge crackdown. The government like Rappler was shut down. A whole bunch of major outlets were basically victims of government censorship and shutdowns and stuff like that. And so this focuses on I want to say, conflicted journalist, not necessarily completely corrupt journalist, and the role he kind of plays in the story.
So it's The Wire season 5.
Pretty much, right?
Season
I
5
think
was
within
season 5 was the newspaper one. 4 was the
Yes,
school, and the rest were crime.
Yeah. And what I liked about the show is I felt it was very well written. Like, there were no big exposition dumps. Everything was rooted in character. Like, there's a moment in the first episode when they're taken back into prison, and I see them, and they're being strapped with cardboard, and I'm like really confused as to what the fuck is going on. And then I realized, it's because they've been brought back in after escaping, in inverted commas, and they need to be,
They weren't escaping. They were working on someone's house.
Oh, work at someone's house.
That's why they had the boxes to bring in the contraband. They're like, you take too long to, like, I don't know who they're doing it's theater for. It's like, you took too long to do that housework, so we're going to hit you very hard on the pieces that we padded up with you earlier.
Yeah, for me, and that's a great example, because something I was going to say was that you kind of have to pay attention, because they don't hold your hand throughout this, right? That sequence you were talking about, Uma, about how they were being brought back in. At first, I was just like, oh, maybe they're on another job. They're on a stakeout, right?
Yeah.
They've got their contraband to sort of bribe people. Because the first time you see it, they bribe the guard with liquor and chocolates and a cigarette. And
But it's not even clear they're buying that for them. Like, I thought they're buying it for themselves. One guy's buying too much, the other guy's buying just enough, and then they get to the cops, and you're like, okay, they must be going on another job, need to bribe. Oh no, they're just going back to jail. Okay.
Yeah, and they're just like, they're going back. Yeah, so that was
because
and
the
also
corruption. No, but also it's a nice way of saying it without spelling it out, right? That the corruption runs into every level. There are outside contractors that want them to commit these political assassinations, but they got to keep all the people in the prison happy and sweet as well.
Yeah.
So everyone gets a piece of the pie, but you're right, Ian. It doesn't glamorize anything. Like, there is this training sequence in the first episode where the old guy has to train the young guy, and he has to kill this old guy, and he's like, will you still be able to kill someone you don't hate? What if it's just this helpless old man? And I'm like, holy fuck, this is brutal.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I'm glad we get a chance to watch it.
Do the characters from the first one carry through to the second?
Not to their story ends in episode 2, and then new characters and new points of view, episode 3, 4, 5, 6, but continuing arc.
Similar situation.
Just because of the massive gap between them being made, I was just wondering if any of the actors carried through from the first one, but they don't. None of them do.
Yeah, no, a couple of the actors do carry through, but the leads are not in 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. It focuses on a different guy in prison. It's still the same thing. He's called out to do these political assassinations. Yeah. But no, really fascinating project. Yeah. And I would strongly urge you to check it out. It drops on Sunday on HBO Go. And it's dropping as a weekly, I think. I think the first 2 episodes come out and then it's weekly every week. The director was also saying in an interview, apparently, I think the original movie for the sequel was like 3 hours and 20 minutes. And so what he did when he was pitching it to his distributors was he went to them going, we have this movie that's 3 hours and 20 minutes, but because of the pandemic, we also cut it into 4 digestible episodes. and apparently they loved it. They were like, let's take this to HBO. So that was cool. He didn't do a Scorsese.
I'm just wondering, it's just like the meeting with the distributor. So it's like, you brought me your movie, and it says like, no, TV, movie, TV, movie, TV, and they just went, okay, TV, fine, we're away with it.
Yeah, check out On the Job, HBO Go. It is definitely worth your time. We definitely don't get enough ASEAN content in Malaysia, so. It's nice to be able to check out what our neighbors are doing from time to time.
Or not like this. We've had some HBO originals before. Some were odd, some were okay. But this is like having rewatched like 1-2 Jaga last week for something we were doing. It's like this is 1-2 Jaga was good, but like this is just it automatically as you're watching it feels different and feels like the kind of content you get anywhere else doing. Like this could be set in, Mexico or anywhere. There's, the slums of any city, any major metropolitan city in the world, and this show would fit right into that. Like it looks amazing like that. And I think that's something that everyone can take from it. That's this is what you get when you tell the truth, I suppose, or a version of the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. On the Job, streaming on HBO Go. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Speaking of things that aren't fresh. We're going to be talking about. Oh, I thought we were going to do Kate first, but.
Oh, okay. Well, we can.
We can.
I did ask you to leave more of a gap between segments so I could put the points in.
I was leading into it with my isn't fresh.
Yeah. It wasn't part of the agenda, Blackheart. Foiled again.
Speaking of things that aren't fresh.
Tell us more.
Netflix drops another revenge thriller. This one with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who we love. And this one's called Kate, Worst SEO Ever. And it tells the story of a ruthless assassin in Japan, top of her game, best at her job.
Never misses in 12 years.
Never gets poisoned, has 24 hours to live, and decides that she is going to go out there and exact revenge on the people who killed her.
Yeah.
She happened to run into the daughter of one of her victims.
Oh, she doesn't happen. She tracks her down.
Well, she tracks her down for a reason, and she kind of gets dragged along for the ride in a plot that is 100% identical to Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah.
Oh man!
I saw someone mention that, but we still haven't got it here on local Netflix, right? You have to use your fire up the VPN for that one.
But let me say right off the bat, this is a much better movie than Gunpowder Milkshake. I think at least this film has some pretty thrilling action sequences. Gunpowder Milkshake kind of tries really hard to be John Wick and doesn't have any of the kind of slickness. Michelle Yeoh was the coolest thing about that film because
I've heard that.
Yeah, she does some cool
This
stuff.
isn't John Wick. This is Jane Ticking Clock.
No, not having a good time. Not having a good time. Yeah.
The director of this, Cedric Nicolas Troyan, I'm pronouncing his name wrong because he's French. He was a VFX guy, and I think his first movie was, one of the Huntsman.
The Huntsman Winter War, the one that no one went to see.
Right. Yeah, that was his directorial debut, I think. And I have to say there were certain aspects of this film that I did really enjoy, but I completely agree with your review on the site, Ian. It is for the most part, just a fine movie. Like
Yeah.
it's just there, it exists.
Yeah.
The reviewers
I
lament
didn't-
it's fine.
I
Yeah.
didn't hate it while I was watching it though. Like
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I know you said the showdown in the Black Lizard, which I quite enjoyed that showdown because I just enjoyed Mary Elizabeth Winstead doing cool shit
Yeah.
and moving from room to room and taking out all these Yakuza guys. So like all of that stuff I kind of enjoyed, but for me it felt overwrought, a little predictable. I knew exactly where it's
Yeah, that was like the moment someone turns up and I'm like, I bet they did it. And it's like I was mad at the movie at that point, where I was like, and then they compounded
the
things.
moment he turns up and goes, I'm
don't
your
spoil it.
family."
Yeah, don't spoil things. Don't bleep that out. It's available tomorrow. Don't ruin it for people, because ruining it for ourselves is enough to make me mad. But then they compound that by having that person explain their role in it in front of, like, it's for anyone who wasn't paying attention. Like, this is a Blacklist script apparently.
Oh.
Really?
So I saw that somewhere that was a 2017 Blacklist script, and I was wondering when you
okay.
watched the trailer, did you watch the trailer? Because the trailer is different. The scenes in the trailer that
Yes.
are not in this movie.
Yes. I was editing the interview we did, Uma did with the 2 stars, and there are a lot of sequences that are not in the movie.
Yeah, right. There's this thing with a ring. There's a point where some of it is editing, where they just edit it to kind of distill the story down. Like she's threatening a Yakuza lord, and he's like, "Who are you?" And she says, "I'm Kate." Which, when I thought about it, I didn't check up the script, the Blacklist script, because ain't nobody got time for that. But if you think about calling your movie Kate, like, there would need to be, and she says at the beginning of this movie, they're going to know that I was here, right? That I was a person, that I existed, because with the poisoning she's got, there's zero chance of anything. It's not just poisoning, it's radiation poisoning. She's done.
Right.
Completely
There's
done
no
to. And it's polonium 204, not 210. So, it must have been the last 4 hours, because that's the half-life of that one, because I looked it up. But, her going around to everybody and telling them I'm Kate would have sold that idea, right? She's like, I'm Kate, motherfucker, and I was here. But she doesn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't do
Don't
that
you
in the
forget
Black
my
Lizard.
name.
Yeah, that scene.
Yeah.
That scene in the trailer is in the Black Lizard. She doesn't do that in the Black Lizard. Actually, when I watched it the second time, it cuts away when she says, "I'm Kate." He says, "Who are you?" In the movie, she looks at him and doesn't maybe have the same thing. There's a line with the kid saying. There's a line with the kid talking to a hitman, and he's like saying, "What are you laughing at?" Says, "You're all gonna die," and it's like, "No,
There's 20 of us.
It's like, you're outnumbered.
And then she goes, "You're outnumbered," because I use that shot a lot.
And
So
that's not in the movie, and it felt like watching it then that either it was assembled by committee after the fact, or certain things just get lost. Like that Black Lizard scene I'm watching it, I'm realizing, everything in the background is grey. Everything is a shade of grey, and like there is blood going everywhere, but it's in no way. It doesn't feel like the action feels all right. The blood is going on the walls, but it's not like
Tarantino would do it.
Yeah, or even just having a shot from the other side of the sliding paper door where it's masses of blood and it's soaking through or something. It feels like it's almost there. The car chase at the beginning of this is bad.
What is that?
It's Need for Speed Street, a game that came out in 2007. That's what it looks like, right?
Yes.
And that scene felt completely out of sync with everything else in the film that didn't use CG.
Yeah. And the reason why they use CG, they put it in the production notes, like they were proud of it because you can't do a car chase in Tokyo because there's way too much people, way too many traffic. So
why do a car chase?
Exactly. And that car chase achieves nothing story-wise. Nope. It's a waste of time.
It's just so she can get to the hospital.
Yeah, which she could get to anyway if a Westerner passes out in the middle of the crosswalk in Shibuya, right? And the movie, I saw this trailer headline before, a review headline before writing my review, but I stayed away from it because I try not to read anyone else's, because the embargo did drop last week, and it was Angie Han at the Hollywood Reporter who talked about Kate cuts her hair at one point, and I thought that was just like, she's dealing with something, the radiation, or it's messy. And she pointed out, this is Hollywood Reporter, Kate's not trying to disguise herself. Her hair is not in the way. She's not especially vain as far as we know, and she's definitely short on time. She doesn't even look that different afterwards. Nevertheless, she gives herself a trim and fluffs it while studying herself in the mirror, because the self-administered haircut is a cinematic shorthand for a woman taking charge of her life. And that's what this movie is. It's like, we've got this great idea for a grey battle that's going to take place, and then it doesn't follow through. There's the thing I mentioned in my review is where she pops a bullet from a magazine into the bullet, and you miss it. Like the lights flicker at the
Because
wrong
of the
moment,
flickering lights,
and
yeah.
either they didn't
Yeah.
realize it or something else, or the effects guy didn't trick it. And I found it was Mary Elizabeth Winstead does great work, and you can see she's doing it. That fight with the singer, pop star, multimillionaire
Miyabi.
mogul Miyabi
Yeah.
is on. There's a point in the trailer watching it where she smashes the two wine glasses and
glasses.
uses the broken stems as weapons, and that's cool. But that's the only fight that I could really see everything that was going on. And I was already mad at the scene in the kind of sushi restaurant where everyone fired at her and then she shut out through it and it was fine. So it was one-way tile.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
you know, setting up these action scenes, setting up these fights, setting up these amazing moments, it takes a lot of work, and it just feels like they were just that one step short from
Yeah.
greatness. Because I thought originally
Yeah.
as well, I thought I had something in my note about it's not John Wick because she keeps running out of bullets or she's fucking up. But then you realize that no, the sheer amount of bullets she's putting through these guns, they're going to jam. And Keanu deals with it occasionally, but in this, it's like she has to deal with a lot. And that's a cool touch. But the first time I saw it, I thought, what a dumbass. She didn't counter bullets.
No, but this movie suffers from the typical action movie trap, right? She only gets jammed in an inconvenient situation or
Yeah.
runs out of bullets in an inconvenient situation. Meanwhile, movies like John Wick, you know, we've read the production notes and the stories of how they make sure it is accurate to the number of bullets in a gun. And that's something they don't do in this film, which honestly I don't have a problem with because fantasy can be fantasy.
Yeah.
But as long as it's doing enough to allow me to suspend that disbelief.
Yeah.
I think you're right when you say this movie feels like it was crafted around a select number of supposedly cool set pieces. So the kitchen fight, amazing. The Black Lizard fight. I mean, all of these ideas and all of these set pieces that they wanted to build a story around have great potential.
Jun Kunimura waving a samurai sword around convincingly. I don't know what age
Yes.
that man is, but
Yeah.
he was an audition.
That's right. He was. Yeah.
And
all
those
of that
scenes are
stuff
awesome, but
was very good. However, I just felt that the one thing that I did enjoy about the film was the fact that they, even though she's going to reach a bad end, they managed to keep that tension throughout the film. Because I think I felt the tension. Like I wasn't bored at any point. And I was along for the ride, and I thought that pacing kept everything going well. It's only when they reach the last, like you say, in the last bits of the film, when a car pulls up, that's when my eyes just rolled so far back into my head.
no, my eyes didn't roll because I was expecting that the moment. Like that was the moment that the bloody titles rolled. I'm like, oh, that's what this is. Okay. What did you guys think of the Westerner line?
Oh yeah, you mentioned that in your review. I was okay with that. I don't know. I thought that was part of the joke.
Just sound,
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was off. It was an odd tone for the movie to a French guy and an English guy write a movie and talk about Westerners consuming everything and then shitting out the result. And I'm like, do you not see that's kind of like putting Tokyo Ghoul on? I thought it was Tokyo Ghoul. I've never seen Tokyo Ghoul, but I know enough to know that was Tokyo Ghoul playing on a screen in the background. That's cool. Maybe you're showing off something, but like, I don't know. It wasn't.
It becomes very clear. Like we had an email interview with the director, and it's very clear. Like that's why I thought it was part of the joke, because it's very clear where he's coming from. French director, loves Luc Besson, loves Nikita, and loves anime. And so you can see that he wanted to use his influences and make a movie set in Tokyo, with a La Femme Nikita kind of vibe and a Luc Besson feel. The whole keyhole shot, very Luc Besson. It's you can tell all of his inspirations and homages right off the bat.
But he should have gone full anime. Like there's a point at the end of the movie when she rocks up wearing the sunglasses, smoking a cigarette, got a kawaii t-shirt on, and it's like, why isn't the whole movie this? There's no reason for it not to be like that. Again, that black and white scene, there's so many cooler things you could have done in there. Like, happening upon some Yakuzas and them like, don't. And then they pull their guns out. It's a cute moment, but like, it's flat. It comes off flat.
Yeah.
I really want a Boom Boom Lemon, though.
Yeah. I really saw that. That's a real thing, is it?
I don't know what that is.
I think it's a real thing.
I guess it must be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just to sort of go back to what you were saying, Ian, because the movie starts at such a pace, it literally starts at an emotional big point, right? It does feel single note, that and then she goes from action to action to action. I wasn't bored, but I wasn't completely invested either. It was it was one of those movies that's just, unfortunately, the movie's fine.
They made that classic action movie mistake. They didn't learn enough from Crank. Crank and Crank 2.
You gotta raise those stakes.
Bring us Crank 3 one of these days. But like Crank and Crank 2, it has that in like that. The stakes are there from the start. It's like you're going to die any minute now, and just keep going. And they've managed to do it. But again, maybe this was interference or something. Like I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a Blacklist script.
No, it doesn't.
I was actually going to say it feels like a Blacklist script from 2017. It just feels too late. This movie feels
because
maybe.
In 2017 it would be kind of novel. Meanwhile, these days action movies with female leads are a genre unto themselves.
Not even that, just this idea of that pace, that relentless speed that she goes at, the action that she goes through. That would have been cool in 2017. I think in 2021 we've seen too many. And
there are 3 John Wick movies now, and one Nobody movie, which took that. I didn't fall back on my usual "it's fine" trope in the review of saying like learn from what comes before, but Nobody did enough by making it humorous, putting Bob Odenkirk in it, and then making it turn into Home Alone at the end that it distinguished itself enough. This, I don't know if we'll talk about this next week. Never mind 2 years' time or wait for a sequel.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we will. And also, there is this tendency, and I really want them to move away from this idiotic narrative trope. It's like, oh, you have an assassin. We know she's good at what she does. There is very little need to show me her training or her childhood or whatever.
Yeah.
You've already set up that she's a master at her trade in the beginning of the film. I was just watching The Protege, which is the Maggie Q film with Michael Keaton and Sam Jackson, right? And literally same thing. Sam Jackson finds Maggie Q as a kid in Vietnam, trains her to become an awesome assassin. People are hunting them down, etc., etc., etc. Same plot, blah blah blah. And the beats are very similar, and it feels like it's become part of this 3-act structure for this sort of film.
Yeah,
and we're getting the same thing over and over again. But with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, with an Asian American star, with just with different people, with Karen Gillan, with different people in the lead role.
I was just thinking about it earlier today about how, remember, I said Long Kiss Goodnight?
Yeah.
That was
great.
No, and I know, right? And when was that made, right? And there was no replicas after that. Nobody tried to copy that formula, right? But now that we're coming back to this, it feels like you filmmakers are missing that movie. They've forgotten that movie happened.
It's the Watchmen problem for comics. Instead of learning that, like, thinking about telling different types of stories with comics, like the way Alan Moore, he was using superheroes as trying to tell something bigger. Instead, they just thought, dark, gritty, boobs, penis. That's what we need to do. Sell comics. And that's what we've still been doing. It's not, you don't need to do The Long Kiss Goodnight. You don't need to do more of that. You need to take a similar approach to your storytelling and super inject a cliched story, right? That's a cliche. An amnesiac finds out they're a hit person. What a concept, right?
Yeah.
Or you build off of Nikita, which came out 25, 30 years ago, right? And you don't pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, also, we've had Alias, which also, took Nikita and added something else, right? We've had Nikita the TV show, which I'm sure had more things. Just a quick look for scriptshadow.net has Kate goes off trying to figure out who killed him, starting with somebody who we just gave out about turning up in the car.
Oh.
Starts with that person, then the prostitute that supposedly killed her. Then it's time to check in on the heavy hitters. She works her way up to the 2 biggest families in towns, killing entire armies of men to get to the top brass, find out why they want her killed. But everyone she talks to has no idea what she's talking about.
Oh, that's interesting.
Along the
that's
way,
a different film.
Along the way, she meets a 12-year-old girl who coincidentally was being used bait to lure in guess who. Yada yada yada. They bond a little bit.
Oh.
La da la da. Kate before Kate has to make a decision to do with the last hour of her life. Find out who her killer is, or go save the girl. Maybe, just maybe, she'll achieve both. So.
So they've taken that script and John Wicked it.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Yeah.
having the person that we just said, the person who turns up in the car, having the Uber passenger like explain his entire plan in front of someone that he is supposed to be grooming to be the next Kate is like, oh, okay. At that point, I was like, just throws notes in air. I was like, oh, okay, this is obviously inserted so that like, I don't get it. Why do you do it? And so they inserted that, and then that kind of then ripples through. How about a car scene in Tokyo? We can't do a car scene in Tokyo. How about you CGI it? It's like, what? How about it's a pink car?
Yeah.
Like it starts. These things start make more sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That sounds like a different film.
Yeah, and that's just again, it's like I don't think people would understand it. They might get lost, or people halfway through the movie, people are saying no one knows who's poisoned her. Is she just a crazy person? Which might be great on a script, but on the screen, people will be like, she's just a crazy person murdering people. No one's poisoned her. Why did she kill all these people? But then it could also be what's the is it Last Man Standing? Is the Bruce Willis take on?
Yeah.
Yojimbo? Yojimbo?
On Yojimbo. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's Yojimbo with poison. I mean, there's so many options seem available that the fact that like of all possible worlds we were collapsed down to this one is like a disappointment.
Yeah.
Although more Mary Elizabeth Winstead doing action though, she's
Yeah.
really good at it.
Yeah.
She's great in everything.
Yeah.
Always.
But she was. I mean, she kicked ass in Birds of Prey, and now she's really honed her skills.
And she was barely in that goddamn movie. It's
Yes,
like, where
I
did
know.
more of her,
Yeah.
please?
We were robbed.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
robbed.
Also, she mentioned Sigourney Weaver, I think, twice in your interview with her,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah, she does. She says Ellen Ripley twice.
yeah, and that's the costume design and the beginning of this movie. Like she's wearing,
Correct.
was it Onitsuka Tiger Runners or whatever, and jeans and a green bomber. But it's basically a mix mash of Ripley's outfits from Alien and Aliens, and like the haircut and everything, and like that's cool. But it's even like you should have just gone with a blue jumpsuit. Just fucking do it. Just like you're covered in blood. You're in a costume shop. The only thing that fits has a little tiny Nostromo label on it. Do it. Fucking hell. Just balls to the wall.
Yeah, I mean,
And then, oh, it writes itself. And then she can drop some line about, what are you going to do? Is to take off, nuke the site from the orbit. It's the only way to be sure. What? Of course I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to kill them all,
See, it's moments like that that kind of just betray the notion that he was a VFX guy. It's very visual. The film is incredibly visual, and I think
Except
To
for
his
that,
detriment, I think,
except
in a
for
lot
that
of ways.
flickering light, though.
Exactly.
That flickering light is like, oh.
flickering light
No,
and the CGI.
But you both saw that, right? The flickering light. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you rewind? I had to rewind to see because she popped it from. It was a cool thing, and she did it. The fact she had to do it again later was when they realized watching the dailies. Oh, did we strike that set? Oh shit, we didn't get it. What do you mean
Yeah.
we didn't get it? I didn't realize you wanted the flickering times to when she put the bullet in. I thought you wanted it on the end of the dialogue.
But I think it's the kind of thing where, like Uma was saying, it's a very visual sequence, right? It's a gunfight, flickering lights. That looks cool because then you get to see the laser targets from the submachine guns.
It looks
There's all
like it's in
these-
slow motion.
It
Yeah.
looks like in slow
Oh,
motion.
yeah, that-
there's that glittery I don't know, the smoke bomb. It's probably the frag bomb or something. It's just there's that glittery thing in the air.
Yeah.
It
Chaff.
looks cool, pointless.
Yeah,
Looks cool, pointless.
Did John Wick 2, maybe 3? I don't know. There was an assault on the Continental. Didn't they do the laser sights as
John
well
Wick 3. Yeah.
in the lobby? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Think
I
so.
was thinking it was that. The slow mo thing also felt like there's no slow mo in the rest of the movie that's like that.
No.
And it felt like she's going "Roar," until she stops going "Roar," and then and that's after she gets shot. She stops yelling, and so that again. By that point, I was just out of the movie entirely. I was like kicked out of the cinema, sitting in buried in the concession stand, just going nitpick, nitpick, nitpick. I was getting annoyed at the movie by that point because that slow mo sequence is like, why? You don't need.
Yeah.
You've not done this at all. It doesn't look cool. In fact.
Yeah.
Judging by what everything else we've seen, I'm starting to wonder if this is to cover something that you messed up
mucked
somewhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kate.
Could have been better.
Could have been better. Could have been a lot better. It drops on. Oh, it's available on Netflix right now.
Tomorrow
as
for
you're
live
listening to this
listeners.
podcast. Yeah, and I think even if you don't like this one, who knows? Next week there's probably going to be another. So,
Is there another one next week?
What did
I think there's a poster which looks like Korean Kate. That's
Oh yeah.
in October at some point.
Yeah, we've entered the phase where people have discovered Liam Wong's photography and are starting to use lots of purples and pink neons. And I mean, everyone wets down the street. It looks cool, but like, have you seen Liam Wong's Instagram?
Yeah,
It's wicked. It's really good stuff.
but they seem to be just ripping off that aesthetic on every action movie poster. Gunpowder Milkshake had the same looking poster.
What was the subtitle I used for the site? The thing I took it from your interview. It's a badass person, was it? Department of Badass Persons. You said there's going to be another badass person, right? It's not badass or kick ass or whatever. It's a badass person. We're going to get another badass person avenging something. You know, their bin's been stolen. The neighbor keeps stealing the newspaper, something like that.
Yeah. Milk's gone off. It was let out for too long. Who knows? I don't know. It's just, they just keep making these things. And you know what? They keep ending up at the top of the charts, so they'll continue making these things.
I forgot to mention as well, actually, the writer wrote Extraction, but it's not the one with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Oh.
I completely forgot to put that in my review because I got so angry at that Westerners line.
Not the good one. All right, so check out Kate when it drops. Let us know what you think of the film. Goggler MY is our social media. You can also email us, podcast@goggler.my, or WhatsApp us, 012-524-5208. Now, you may have been a little disappointed with Kate, but here's something that you will not be disappointed with. Whether or not you're a fan of musicals. Come From Away is a Broadway musical that they've taped live, kind of like what they did with Hamilton. And Apple TV has put it on their platform. The story is a true one. And basically, after the events of 9/11, America shut down its airspace for the first time in history. And all domestic flights had to land immediately, and international flights, because they were kind of too far from their point of origin to turn back, had to land in Canada. And 38 of those planes ended up in Newfoundland in a place called Gander, population 9,500, a town that had to play host to 7,000 terrified people. And what they did next was absolutely beautiful. They opened up their homes, they put their lives on hold so they could take care of these people for 5 days. That happened back in 2001. I had a friend on one of those planes. He was a Malaysian. He was going to study in the US for university. It's funny, when he told me the story, I asked him, was like, what's the big takeaway for you? And he was like, the one lesson I learned is you always pack a change of clothes in your hand luggage.
That's a life lesson for him there.
He's like, we use our hand luggage for stupid shit. We put headphones in and books. And he's like, toothbrush, change of clothes. You never know what's going to happen. But no, and this musical, I knew nothing about this musical. I knew the Gander story because of my friend, but I knew nothing about this musical.
Yeah, I mean, and everything you've just said sounds like a setup for like an awesome kind of like kitchen sink drama movie starring Tom Hanks.
Like a docudrama, right? Yeah.
But a musical? I'm like, what?
Same. Yeah. I was super apprehensive. My God, this thing fucking blew me away. Like, I watched it twice, and
Same.
No. But like, just the production.
I know, Bahir.
Like 12 people on stage with chairs playing, like literally hundreds of parts.
Yeah.
And they're shifting characters.
16,000 people, 16,080 people they play.
Just by moving the fucking chairs. It is genius.
Also the use of hats and jackets and accents.
Correct.
Yes.
And scarves.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking smart. Where the fuck was this?
And for me, I think when it first kicks off, I'm like, I'm being the cynical bastard that I am. I'm watching it going, I'm never going to be able to not think of the original character at first. Because there's 12 guys on set, right? So they first come out as one set of people, as local people from Gander.
Citizens of Gander,
Citizens of Gander.
As they sing Pinball Wizard by The Who, because it's Pinball Wizard by The Who. Because it was driving me on this rock, it was like, and I'm like, it was only when the second time it came around, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, when they go "Welcome to the Rock," I keep thinking of Sean Connery.
He's a real, yeah, that's also, but he's a real, the kid's a real, Deaf, Dumb and Blind Kids sure plays a mean pinball. That's the beat that gave it away.
That's
The beat, yeah.
But that's not a problem. Just
No, I mean, look, for me, what I was saying was that I was sure I wasn't going to be able to fall for this. Because there's no way 12 people are going to be playing all these characters and that I'm not going to get confused. I was never confused. I was always sure when the mayor changes and puts on a hat and he becomes the mayor of a different town, I'm completely on board. When the mayor becomes an angry Texan at the back of the plane, I'm completely on board.
Yeah.
I'm never lost. When Annette becomes the pilot, becomes someone else, I'm completely on board. I'm never lost.
Yeah.
And I thought that was perfect, right? The writing is so fucking tight.
The writing is tight. Those accents are, I mean,
the accents are great.
it takes, I mean, I can see now why they need to launch you headfirst tied to a chair into it, because I like my musicals to wine and dine me a little bit first. I'm like, give me...
Oh, this one just...
And I'm like...
It kicks you right there.
Yeah, it kicks off straight into it. And I'm like, oh, gee, how long is this? Oh, I don't know if I can sit through this. And then the Newfie accents kick in. And I'm like, okay then. Okay, oof. They sound like they're doing them right, I think. We follow some YouTubers and they went back to Newfoundland and they seem to talk like that, eh? But it's a lot to take in up front. And it is nice the way they don't actually refer to the events that cause all this for quite a while.
No.
Because they don't know.
And to be fair, I think, exactly. And that was true as well to a certain extent, because they kept the passengers on the planes on the tarmac for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think for almost half a day, like 12 hours or more.
Like I said, they were traveling. Some of them were traveling for like from takeoff for 28 hours or something like that. Still.
Correct. And they kept them in the dark because they didn't want to panic them. So they kept getting, and no one had cell phones and internet access and all of that stuff.
Oh, assholes did.
Oh, yeah.
2001, only assholes had phones. I'm going to call them my phone.
Yeah. And so they were kept in the dark. So I think all of that played out really, really well. But I think for me, it was the smaller moments, because how they did it was, I think the writers went to Gander and they just collected hundreds of hours of interviews.
Yeah, they took a gander at Gander.
They took a gander, hundreds of hours of interviews, kind of compiled all of that, and then crafted. Some characters are standalone and some characters are amalgamations of stories, but all of the stories are real. And it's those small moments and side stories that create these like small moments of humanity, which I really love.
Like the woman from, is it Beverly from the SPCA, who's like worried about the animals in the plane.
Well, the animals,
and no one else gives a shit.
Of course, there are animals on the plane, right?
Yeah. And no one else cares.
I mean, there are 38 planes. There will be animals somewhere.
And then there is the moment that broke me was when there is this African couple who can't speak English.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give it away because but it broke, like when that happened, I was just
that was it for me.
And I'm crying.
And it's also that song, the song that's playing around that time has a repeated chorus, and when they repeat it in the language that they're from, that was just like, ooh. I mean, the music is, apart from ripping off Tommy, it's exquisite. Like it is. I was like, I'm not a big musical guy. I'm not, I didn't listen to Hamilton until we watched the Disney Plus version.
Yeah.
But like I'm welling up, but like I don't care about these people. But this music is so.
Right.
It's got all those moments that really sweep you up and drop you off, and
the other thing for me as well that was beautiful about the musical is that they never sort of dwell on anything, right? Yeah, there's this really heavy thing that's just happened. Go back 20 years to this, but they always sort of, and I assume that this is kind of like what the town folk were like, right? They would always try and distract you with something better. They
were very Canadian.
They were very Canadian, right? They would always break those moments of sadness with something good.
We gotta clean the toilets, or hey, you went out the Irish whiskey's downstairs.
Exactly, that was beautiful. Those little notes of just those punctuations of positivity was beautiful.
Yeah.
For me, I'm very well aware that nothing beats watching a musical in a theater, right? You want to be in a dark room, hundreds of people. There's a different vibe and an atmosphere, but at the same time, I have to say, I'm really enjoying these film versions. Like in 2017, I had the chance to see Hamilton. but nothing. Like, it was a much more intimate experience watching it on Disney Plus, because
Yes.
the camera takes you places
Yeah.
you will never go on stage, and I missed so much of what they
Yeah.
were like, their faces. And
Yeah.
in Come From Away, you can see even especially now, because these guys are playing 20 different characters,
Yeah.
and you can see every wink, lip
Yeah.
curl, facial
Yeah.
tick, whatever they're
Yeah.
doing, it's all there.
I
And-
think-
Because for me, this like Hamilton, like this, it's you get intimacy is the perfect word for it, right? Even the best seat in the house, the best seat in the theater house is
right.
in the middle of the middle. That's the
Yeah.
perfect seat. That's where perfect audio.
Because
that's where
it's
you
best
see
for sound, right?
Yeah.
best for sound. But you're still too far away from the lead actor, the second lead, the guy in the back who's pulling out a gun. But on camera, all that works.
Yeah, and
beautifully.
you can literally see that for different characters, the actors are speaking out of different sides of their face.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
like
And
little
that's-
thi-
yeah. Yeah. It's just those little ticks are beautiful.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned this. Now, I love my musicals. I've seen quite a few, but I'm in no way an authority. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I've not seen another play or musical where there are no small parts. Like,
Yes.
everyone is essentially a lead here, because they're
A
all
lead, yeah.
playing different leads almost.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's also just the kind of thing where like everybody's got their own story, right? They're all experiencing it together. Hamilton, yes, all those characters are supporting the character of Hamilton, the one Lin-Manuel Miranda's playing. Whereas here, there's the British guy who meets the Texan. There's the mayor. There's the SPCA lady. There's the journalist. The journalist was beautiful.
is fantastic.
Yeah, so everybody's got their own story because they all have this experience of
There's
this
actual
big momentous moment.
There's actual pilot Beverly Bass. You know,
There's
that
actual pilot
song,
Beverly Bass,
and like, did you see at the end credits where they have the actors standing beside the people?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, also, I mean, this recording is even more emotional, right? Because they record this after Broadway reopens after COVID, and they have first responders in the audience and 9/11 survivors.
So
And
they
I
had
was
to
like,
they had to put up with the cameras up
"Oh."
on stage in front of everything.
I wonder
No,
if they
but-
redid
I'm
the
guessing they
shots.
shot it across 2 nights or something. They must have, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they must have. And then, I mean, but what the director, I think Christopher Ashley, like what he does is quite interesting, because he goes beyond what Hamilton does as well, because he kind of takes the camera above. He gives you a full view of the stage from
Yes.
different angles, and he kind of plays with the fact that he has the tools of cinema, which is really nice.
He doesn't forget the language of cinema, because
Yes,
this isn't
while he's
you know
shooting.
because it's the thing about if you've seen the old stage recordings of Cats, they've done so
Right.
many of those, and it just feels like a static
It's a
camera.
static, yeah.
They may have 3 cameras for different angles, but it feels very static. But even back then, when the camera goes on stage for a close-up, it doesn't feel like it's been shot by a film guy. It feels like it's almost being shot by a theater director. Whereas here, the translation from stage to screen, or stage to camera, was beautiful. It's
But
completely
also-
seamless.
Given when they shot it, I mean, I don't know what a real production is like, but it felt like the whoops were a little louder and
Yeah.
the cheers were a little, like the claps were a lot louder, because I think people were so happy to be back on Broadway.
Probably.
There's a
Yeah,
laugh.
yeah.
There's a laugh at one point, which is not a joke. There's just laughing. There's someone just laughs at something, and like it's
Like,
quite
so
loud,
happy.
but it's only
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
person does it. No one else laughs along.
Yeah.
But also, I think for me, I think the other thing is like, I would never like. What chance would we have gotten to see something
Yes.
like this otherwise?
Even that, how would your friend sell you on like, hey, do you want to go see a musical about 9/11?
Can I exactly, right? Because I immediately texted my friend who I know of the group of my friends, who the only person I know who's got Apple TV Plus. And I'm like, look, you have to watch this thing. And he goes, that's a weird premise for a
Yep.
musical.
Yep.
I'm like, no, but you'll get it. You
Yeah.
have to watch it.
And that's
You'll get why
that's
this
what
is so good.
knowing that going in and having that opening be so brash and so musical. You're like, oh god,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is the Zil Judge, and then this is just like a whole new country. But then it's just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it works. I did
Yeah,
think
it works so
though.
beautiful.
I do wonder what the kind of like version where everyone's still, the songs are the same, you see it the same actors, but they're literally like in an airport or in small houses, and you just cut between characters. like how that would have worked.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like a
okay.
film version, you know?
Right,
Well,
right.
I think, and I don't know if this is still in production. When it came, after watching it, I went down a rabbit hole, found great articles about the
yeah?
couple. They're still together, by the way.
Oh, nice.
But also, this thing was optioned for a film, like a film. And I know they were working on a script and so on. But then they shot this and put
not
this
a
out.
musical?
I don't know if it was a musical.
Like if you imagine La La Land, but instead of like on the
Yeah,
highway,
yeah,
it's on the
right.
airport or it's in the Salvation Army.
And Ian's got a good point, because the magic of watching those two buses drive together was beautiful.
Yeah, that's fun.
Right? The magic of I can't remember his name. I think Tony, was it? Stealing barbecues.
Yeah,
Oh, that was great.
yeah.
It's because you're not cut to a different scene. You're not suddenly shifted space, right?
One place that they actually, considering it's all the same people on the run one stage, where they actually did cut to another scene and you're in a different place. The air traffic control scene where they cut to air traffic control.
Oh.
There's one guy talking and the lights go down on the
my
phone, and I'm
God.
like, whoa! That's when I was in. That's when I was in.
Yeah.
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 It was also just like you and because I'm a film guy, you can see it on film, right? They would cut to this guy, cut to that guy, cut to this guy, cut. But even then, the camera was very static. One shot, all the three guys who were talking were in the same. I mean, they're not talking to each other, but you know, they're also they were sort of all arranged really nicely. That they're in the background, foreground, and all that. It was beautiful. Even the stage direction, the stage directing to camera
With
was
the
beautiful.
spinning stage, yeah, exactly.
With the spinning
All of
stage, yeah.
Especially standing on chairs on a spinning stage, which two characters have to do at one point, which looks awkward.
Yeah, which
And then
I was concerned for the elderly gentleman.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them. There's plenty of not spring chickens in this audience, in this cast, and I think that's also something that works for it.
Also a rarity. Like we don't see older people on stage on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of Ali's story? Because I kind of would have liked to see again. You don't want to more on that. Yeah, definitely. I thought that was slightly underserved, but
yeah, and I think, I mean, for me, it only feels like that now, 20 years later, having heard about the stories of what Muslims had to go through at the time, right? It feels underserved, but I also understand why I wouldn't want that to have sucked all the energy out of the room. You know, I think.
But also, that felt almost like the victim of trying to tell as many stories as possible.
Like he could have done with a solo, I think.
Yeah,
that would have been good. Yeah,
I think if anything, I would have liked maybe a bit less of the gay couple, only because nothing. I mean, sure, they break up, and there's an emotional weight.
There's an emotional arc, but there isn't really a narrative arc because
he
finds a new secretary.
Yeah, secretary, but it's also but it's necessary to show how even within the same cohort or social group or social unit, people can deal with it in very different ways. And one just wants to get to New York, and one wants to get as far away from it as possible and drink Molson.
But also the whole don't tell them we're gay, but you know. It's Canada and everyone's fucking lovely.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
But it's just that there's that perfect line where he goes, somehow we've landed in the gayest town in Newfoundland. I was like, oh, beautiful. Clap my hand. Yeah.
The other thing, I mean, there's been a ton of, obviously it's the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and there's a ton of stuff across many streaming platforms. Netflix has got documentaries, Apple TV stuff has got like Inside the President's War Room type thing. I think Netflix had a movie, it's not available in Malaysia, I think it's out in the UK and the US, called Worth.
Prime,
which is with Michael Keaton.
Prime.
Oh, is it Prime in Malaysia?
I think
it's Netflix in the US and the UK.
Oh, really? Okay. I think that was on Prime. Anyway, I might be.
Right.
Okay.
So, Worth with Michael Keaton. Spike Lee's got a documentary series on HBO Max, and all of that kind of approaches the subject in a similar manner. It tries to get to consequences, roots of the problems, how the world has changed. For me, Come From Away, just great counter programming to all of that, because this is the only one that seems to celebrate humanity. Like, in a moment of terrible shittiness, these group of people kind of proved that there is still brightness in the world, right?
Or at least in Newfoundland.
At least in Gander, No, but what I love, like, I was reading all these articles, and like some of the survivors, some of the people who got stranded, they were writing lots of these op-eds, and I'm sure they weren't talking to each other while they were writing these op-eds, but almost every one of them in these op-eds have said, I have spent my life trying to be more like you. Like, because you taught me goodness. And ever since that day 20 years ago, I've spent every day trying to like do good. And on every September the 11th, I think they go out and they do stuff for other people.
There's one guy who says he gives his staff $100 each, and they go out and do something nice for everybody. That's at the end there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the other side of the American dream that you struggle to be nice, and the only way to do so is to become Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I the first time I watched it and I finished it, I immediately texted you, Uma. I think I want to go to Gander now.
Yeah. It's become a tourist hotspot since.
Oh, really? Has it?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
It's still Newfoundland though, so temper your expectations accordingly.
I'm okay.
I watched these YouTubers and
like an idea.
They did a helicopter trip to Newfoundland, and it was a nightmare getting there because the weather was so bad. And they're from there, and they still were, they were happy to be home, but it was still like, all right, let's go back to New York. It's Come From Away, Apple TV Plus. I mean, we highly recommend it. Great counter programming to all the depressing stuff you might be watching about 9/11.
But also, it's the perfect salve, right? 20 years later, everybody's going to be doing all these retrospectives and not only just looking back. I think Netflix has got a documentary coming out on today, Friday, or on Saturday itself about the 20 years and what's happened with the war and how it led to it,
right?
And all that. To just fucking turn on CNN, you get that kind of shit already.
Like we've lived it.
We've lived it.
We're still living it. Yeah.
This is beautiful counter programming. I think it's a beautiful way to sort of look back on a very horrific day when everybody sort of has got bad memories.
And it's just a great musical as well.
It's a great musical, yeah.
And there's there's like 30 bloody songs in it. Like for some reason they put the song.
I've had the soundtrack on.
They usually have the sound like the song credits closer in the movie, but like they were right at the very, 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 very end, and that's just there were so many of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those musicals where they are singing 89% of the time, right? You're not going to get an awful lot of talking between it.
I would say a lot higher than 89%. Dude.
Yeah, it's a lot of singing. Well, I mean, I am a musical guy, and I go into most musicals, modern musicals like this, because I'm like, oh, you're never going to be as good as Les Mis, or you're never going to be good as Phantom. And then, like, eventually, if it's good, it ends up, and I got to that stage a lot.
And then he gets his red jumpsuit, and he's swinging it over his head.
Putting on my mask. Yeah.
Because, like, I'm as much as I'm looking forward to seeing In the Heights, I'm not sure I'll enjoy it as much as I did this. Only because the music I've heard from that, it just feels like Lin-Manuel Miranda, whereas this feels different. This feels fresh. It's a really interesting story.
You're an islander now.
I'm an islander now, yeah. I will kiss that cod.
You will kiss that fish. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, the only thing I was thinking to myself was, would I be able to bring myself to drink a screech?
I think you could do it.
I probably had one, I just can't remember.
You know the only thing I was thinking about during that scene, I was like, it's the pandemic. How are they sanitizing that fish?
It's fish. It's got cod liver oil. The other thing, I didn't realize. I mean, the band comes out at the end and introduces everybody, but I didn't realize until there's a scene earlier in that, and I was like, I didn't realize the band were on stage the whole time.
Oh yeah, they're the back.
Oh yeah.
They're at the back either side.
Beautiful.
And I should say as well that I had attacks of nostalgia for a place I've never been because there's an awful lot. Newfoundland is very Irish. Apparently,
I was gonna say
it's not
very Irish,
but the place itself is like there's a tradition there, so there is like bits of language and stuff like that have remained there. So even some of the dialogue is a bit, the accents are a bit Irishy as well. But there's an awful lot of fiddle in there, so that kind of like there's a couple of Irish pieces weaved in and out like that are refrains and melodies I've heard from other things from traditional Irish music. So it's nice to hear that. The song they were singing in the bar that felt also very Irish. Anytime there's a fiddle going mighty. Once a fiddle's going mighty, you know it's Irish.
I love that drum thing they were doing.
The Bowron.
I don't remember what it's called. Oh yeah, Beautiful. Yeah.
Spell it.
I mean,
Try and spell it.
no, I'm not going to insult your Irish people.
No, it's just like it's not a challenge to anybody. It's Bodhra for the N, I think. Bowron.
Exactly my point.
Nope.
No, yeah. I'm just gonna say it. Talking to you guys about it makes me want to watch it again.
I was just gonna say I might put it on after this podcast.
I don't think the missus will be happy about that. But yeah.
Did
she
she enjoy
doesn't
it?
want to cry. She loved it, but she just hates crying at these things. Every time I put on Hamilton, she's like, "You're gonna make me cry again, aren't you?" I'm
Which
like,
is every
no,
what?
I'm not making.
It's
cry.
every what's it down to now? Every 3.5 hours.
Every Thursday and on public. holidays.
No, I haven't done it yet in a while.
Okay.
Which I might do this weekend. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey Siri, just play it. Play it. You know what it is. Play it.
Although at this point, there's two now that Siri has to keep up with. Yeah.
Come From Away is streaming on Apple TV Plus. We highly recommend you check this out. Whether or not you're a musical fan, this one might convert you. Check it out. Let us know what you think. You know how to get in touch. Goggler MY are our social media feeds. Podcast at goggler.my. Also 012-524-5208 to WhatsApp us. Yeah, before we wrap, Ian McNally, should we take a pause and check out that Matrix trailer? Which
Oh
just
Jesus! Because I don't know whether the live stream was. That's probably why no one's looking at the live stream. The live stream was broken or something because it said we're not able to connect to chat. So I don't know whether like worldwide there's a problem with chat on the Matrix trailer.
Because everybody,
has
the
dumped
YouTube
it. You know what?
servers are down. Yeah.
I didn't bring my headphones, but I didn't set my reminder because I was surprised I saw that's the first time I've seen that for a trailer where it said like front and center on
really?
YouTube. Hey,
yeah.
the Matrix trailer is tonight. Set a
God knows
reminder.
they paid them a lot of money. Okay, wait. Let me just do the goodbyes
Yeah.
so that I will have a nice little goodbye for the podcast.
Sure.
And just say thank you so much for listening. You're listening to the Goggler Podcast. And now we can mute. I figured it out. We mute the Zoom meeting for like 2 minutes while we watch it on our iPads or phones.
Okay.
And then we come back.
Can't we watch it on our? Can't we watch it on the laptop?
I wish I'd had this idea earlier. I could actually. I don't know. I can't watch it on the laptop because I think it'll pick up the laptop audio on the stream.
Yeah.
That's why I'm. Yeah, correct.
But I think I can't. I don't know if I can mute my. Like, so many things. Live streaming's hard.
Let me try something.
Well, just make sure go to the Warner Brothers Pictures because there's already that German site that always has fucking trailers is trying to do it and everything. So that's off already. So yeah, I'm just gonna look at it.
I'm just gonna mute my Zoom. I can hear someone's audio. Turn that off. There you go. I can hear you.
White Rabbit, man! White Rabbit!
What the shit?
He's starting to believe.
What the?
What?
No, but
You shut up, phone. What?
Yeah.
There was a man once. We call him the One, and he could do everything in the Matrix, but then he died to save us for our sins. But I believe, Neo, pal, that you're him again.
Yeah.
What? It looks like a Matrix movie, but it looks like they're doing something weird. I don't know if we talked about this. I have heard from like US-based podcasts, and I've seen it on Twitter as well. People saying, like, I mentioned it to you guys about being bonkers, but not going into any detail, and that it's bonkers in a way that people are going to love it or hate it because what it does to it might do something to the original Matrix movies, but also like it looks like they're let's get metatextual or something, you know?
Yeah, I'm okay with them doing stuff to the original Matrix movies. I'm completely fine with them going batshit fucking crazy and changing all of that lore. That's fine. But I mean, it looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Fishburne wasn't in it.
Yeah, no, he's not in it. He's definitely not in it. That's been like people wondering about that. But what's the guy's name from Watchmen?
Yeah.
There's talk about him being that. So I don't know. You know, you sometimes get a little. You get a little judder in your code, you know. You get an error happens every 6 million years, every 1,000 years, or something like that, you know.
So hang on.
In the second movie, right? In the second movie, didn't in his ridiculously stupid speech, didn't the architect talk about how yes, there have been many chosen ones. I've gone through many of you.
Yeah, the one is actually a remainder. Is not a one. He's a remainder. He's what's left over when the system, you know, he's self-correcting.
Yeah.
Because without the one, the Matrix becomes unstable, I believe.
Right. And so, yeah, could this just be another one of those remainders?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
but it's like, you know, part of Neo was stuck in. He left part of himself behind in the Matrix. It's easy. You can just do this. You can hand wave this shit away. Like it's Neo and Matrix back together again. Yeah, that's all you need to know. Who gives a shit how they put it together? You know. And it's like him discovering himself gives them. It's the Metroid Prime. It's the Metroidvania way of doing it. You get the first level. You've got everything. It's overwhelming. It's super powerful. Wow. It's not interesting because you can kill, murder, everything. But then they take all your weapons away, and you got to learn how to use each one by itself. And then you get the emotional catharsis when he grabs that fucking rocket and diverts it at the chopper, because Matrix 2 and 3 Neo would just be like, what, you know.
Yeah.
There's an account. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the comments below. There's a Twitter account that is really picking out like really awesome action movies that I haven't heard of. I think I've sent you guys one or two of them, and was talking about the scene in the Merovingians' house from 3 or something. You know, the one with the staircase that they're jumping up and down.
Yeah.
And a whole level of analysis of that I never even thought of. That like at the beginning of it, Neo is like godlike or whatever like that, and has to be brought down into the realm of humans because he has to pick up weapons because he realizes it's not working. And there's something about like he stops a blade with his hand and he bleeds, and he only bleeds certain times in the 3 movies, and each time he does, it signifies something else, and it's got to do with Christ. And I'll see if I can dig up that thread again, because it is like, oh, I just thought that was a scene that didn't seem as exciting as the stuff in the first movie. But maybe they were actually trying to say something that we were all too dumb to understand the first time. Because like, oh, there's werewolves in the Matrix. Okay, that's a cool idea, I guess. But the architect is boring, and, you know, it would have been fine if they hadn't... You can't kill someone in one episode and have her brought back to life just to kill her again the following one and make it feel bad. I still like the fan theory I read in the bulletin board.
Up,
except where you can see they're empty. There's no engines in them when I think one of the cars flips because they're not full cars. I still like the fan theory I read back at the time, which is that the Zion and all that is just another layer of the Matrix. Like they've escaped level 1, they're in level 2, and actually people are going to come from the other side of the moon and inject themselves into the Matrix to let them know that they're actually, the Matrix still has you, Neo, which has got to be a tagline for this movie somewhere along the way, because they're calling him Neo and the Matrix still has him.
I mean, is it the Matrix? I still think they need to call it Matrix Redemption just for the last 2 films.
No. Redemption is overused. Resurrection is already... Resurrections. Well, there we go.
With an S. Yeah.
Yeah, that was something.
For a moment in the coffee shop with him and Trinity, I thought, is it Matrix the rom-com? Huh? I was like, meet cute.
Yeah. Meet Neo.
you
He's
got
a
mail.
meet Neo. He's a hacker who thinks he's got it all figured out. But along comes Trinity and turns his world upside down.
Lie down. I'll be there for you. So we know Fishman's in it. We're not in it, and we know Hugo Weaving's not in it, right? Because has he retired? Hugo Weaving?
He just doesn't want to do any of that shit anymore. He wants to do proper acting. He made so much money off those Hobbit movies and shit like that he does, and these movies that I presume he doesn't need to. But
cool.
I do wonder. There's a girl smiling at him. I don't know. It's the right rabbit. When White Rabbit's playing. There's a girl smiling at him, and I don't know. Is that the original? Because the girl who says "Follow me" now is not. Is that who's that actress? Did you know who that was? Anyway, the person who's smiling at him first, is that like the girl from Home and Away who was in the first one because they shot it in Sydney? I don't know. Is it, like, are some of the actors? I'll have to go back now and see it. It looks like they're are they reusing some of the actors from the original trilogy to also show whatever else is being resurrected?
Right. Okay. I also it's billed as a Lana Wachowski joint.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if Lily Wachowski has anything to do with it. Like
I think she's producing, is she?
I think Lana wrote it and is directing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's apparently written and directed by Lana. So, but the other one they had joint credit, right? It was the Wachowskis, right?
Yeah.
The three of them. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Two of them.
And they have been doing it as the Wachowskis for Cloud Atlas and Jupiter Ascending too, right? Yeah. Okay. So cool.
I don't know if they've done any solo. Have they done any solo stuff?
I'm not sure.
Oh, they have. Yeah.
I think Jupiter Ascending, they were joint, and Cloud Atlas, they were joint on writing, producing, and directing. Speed Racer joint as well, writing, producing, and directing. And I can't remember what their role was on Sense8. I know they were creators of the show, but I think
creators. Yeah.
I think Straczynski was showrunner, or he wrote a lot of it. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that was exciting.
That blue-haired chick is Colleen.
Again on the big screen.
The blue-haired chick is Colleen Wing, isn't it? From
really?
Luke Cage.
Iron
Fist.
Oh,
I think I saw someone mentioning it earlier, and I wasn't sure enough. But now I look at her again, it kind of does look like her. So I don't know.
I will go look it up.
But it looks intriguing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, I'm completely on board. I know I was a little. I mean, I wouldn't say apprehension, but I was only thrown off because, like, wait, wasn't she dead? Wait, wasn't he dead? How are they bringing all this back, right? That to me was that was just the confusion thing, but
you know, that was a sensory overload that I expect from a Matrix film. That trailer gave
pretty much,
to me.
absolutely, yeah.
And Neil Patrick Harris, woohoo!
My only disappointment is that they made Yahya Abdul-Mateen look exactly like Fishman.
But I think that's where the weirdness comes in. I think they're doing something. It's a resurrections. It's like the patterns are happening again. I didn't want to do this, but it's like George. It's like George says. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Like that's what it looks like. It looks like doing doorways as well. I mean, did you see that scene where she backflips off the building, lands on the corner, and then fucking? Yeah. It's like fuck bullet time. Guys, we got something for you. We got something new.
Yeah,
but I think
for me, it's just also just like I hope they've given up on that weird spaghetti people that they had. You know, in the second one that they fight.
About those. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just like I really hope they sorted that shit out.
Is that the Matrix playing on a movie screen in the background? Is that where Neo takes the pill and it goes down his throat, but the cinema screen is ripped open?
Oh,
because it looks like a theater.
I'll put it on the big TV and watch it later.
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's the kind of weirdness I've heard about.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's been a long time since we've had something.
As long as we don't have another 15-minute architect speech, I'll be okay.
Yeah, as long as I think they've had time to think about it and stuff. I think I wanted to work into my Evangelion piece a little bit. It's nice to have those things where you're puzzling over it. It's not just this isn't just a cool marketing thing. The Ghostbusters thing is going to be fine. It's not just like there's no big mysteries there. It's never Mephisto. We know that now. Anything Marvel, it's not going to be Mephisto. It's going to be it's not going to be quite as crazy as we thought it was, but it's still going to be enjoyable. This is like
but also,
let the theorizing commence.
I'm glad you brought up Evangelion thing, because I was reading your article, your ending explain thing, and I think the same might apply for Matrix in that they're older, and I think the fact that he's older meant that he could craft an ending of Eva this way, because this one felt. I finally finished 3.0.1, and this one feels like such a more mature work than the ending of the TV series.
I don't know. I watched the ending of the TV series again. I think the ending of the TV series is a mature work. That it's the same ending, just told from different perspectives.
Correct. Told in a different way, right?
And it's the same thing that no one can live alone. You need to have someone around you. Even if every one of your life decisions leads you to want to be alone, you still need to have other people around you.
Right. But
wow, it took me how many thousand words did it take me to say that in the article? Damn.
But don't you think in this ending, there's a lot more show don't tell.
It's more in the movie. The show don't tell, but it's more palatable show. It's like the end of Evangelion movie did it where it's like you were complaining because there was no robots in the finale. It's all like pencil sketches and what's life about, because it's talking about the singularity. It's talking about the Eschaton. Yeah. It's talking about humanity evolving past its physical forms. It's a bit hard to do that in an anime with a limited budget. So we're going to put this time around, I'm annoyed at you for shouting at me, and also here's some robots fighting, and also everyone you love gets horribly, horribly murdered. And then this ending is like, you know what? It's just another day. Go on with your lives. And here's the ending you like. And that works. And so it's palatable.
For me, the second Matrix movie felt like the Wachowskis had just discovered philosophy. Like, so, and so that's why you had this monologue that went on for so long, because it was full of all these really cool philosophical concepts.
Well, do you have do you have the Making of the Matrix book behind you?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So I don't know. Was it something where I don't know if this is true. Was it something where they didn't know they were going to get a second movie? They thought one ends with like, this is just a kick-ass on its own great idea, and if you're crafting that for years, you've so much time to put so many details into it, and it's like what's called it simulacra and it's the other thing, the other S word. Spider-Man is simulacra, right. But like it's like you get so much time to invest. Like no, this scene has to show the rabbit. Like why? Because it's not just the plot wise. It's like Alice in Wonderland. It's this. It's that. And whereas the next one was like, oh, we've only got 3 years to write this, plus all the effects, plus we've decided that
you get a narrative exposition dump that is
plus we're going that, but also we're going to use cutting edge graphics to have this fight. You're not going to believe it. It's going to look like it's on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Because at the time that looked pretty awesome, but you look at it now and the birdie brawl is like, eee.
To be fair, I haven't seen it in a while. I'm scared.
A year or two later, it's yee. The fights of the first one I think hold up better because they're not that.
Yes.
They're not CGI. Yeah. I'm assuming that rain fight's just going to look awful for the third one.
I think it does.
Yeah. No, so I'm excited. December 22nd.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry fucking Christmas. All right. Cool. I think we can wrap. Thank you for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.